Good afternoon and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I'm your host, Michelle Dawes-Bird, and as always, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you guys, and we apologize for the delay. Sometimes it's just technology is just not in our favor, but it's okay. We are here now, and so are you. So thank you in advance for being patient with us, and thank you for joining us for today. We are excited. Yes, for a couple of reasons. First thing, today is my anniversary. Yes, it's my anniversary. Today marks the fourth season or year that I've been doing these talk shows. And it's been airing every first and third Sunday at 2 p.m. for the past 4 years. So thank you, Status Network, for having me for so long.
Congratulations, sis. That's major. Okay, more. Yes.
Thank you. So we will celebrate. But today we are talking about it's all about autism. Today, the month of April is National Autism Awareness Month. And I have some beautiful women here that are going to talk about their experiences in raising their children that have autism. I want to welcome the people that are listening, and let me give you a little background about what Real Chicks Rock is all about before we jump into the topic for today. It's all about creatively collaborating and connecting to raise awareness regarding issues that impact women. And we do it by this platform, through the arts, we do it through public speaking, mentoring. We do a whole bunch of different things, but this platform has allowed us to be able to raise the awareness and have these conversations that impact us the most. And today's show is sponsored by not one, but two people. It's powered by two people today. Miss Tasha LeRae, that's one person. Thank you, Miss Tasha LeRae. We're going to talk more about her products and services at the end of the show. And also Only One Camille's Boutique. Yes, so we're going to talk about what they're offering and what their stores and boutiques are all about at the end of the show. So thank you, ladies, for powering us today. So let's get into it. Hi, guests. I have Gina Stovall and I have Marcia Shackelford. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Thanks for joining, and thanks for being patient with us today. Thank you so much. So you ladies, I know you ladies, but the people that are watching may not know a little bit more, some details about you. So I'm going to start with you, Marcia. Can you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
My name is Marcia Shackelford. I'm a mother of two sons. One's 10, Christian. That's my son who has autism. Benjamin, 8. Also a yoga teacher, a Reiki energy healer, a Thai body worker. So and a lover of dance and music.
Yes. Thanks, Marcia, for joining us. All right, so my other guest, Gina Stovall. Tell the people a little bit about yourself. You're not twirling at the moment, but tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, they don't recognize me without the skirt, sis. I'll tell them. I'll wear the skirt, they don't know me. Hi, my name is Gina Michelle. I am the Real House Mother of Atlanta. I was awarded that title 2 years ago, and I wear it proudly. And yeah, house music is my first love. I've been in the house community over 40 years. I'm one of the originals back in New York. So, but my proudest accomplishments is I am a mother of 3 amazing children. Mm-hmm. My youngest is Tony. He will be 28 this month. This June. Mm-hmm. And he was diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder when he was about 2.5. So I've been living with autism a long time. So I got a little bit of expertise in the field, just in my mommy duties. So I appreciate you inviting me in here to share. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, ladies. And so let's jump right into it. So Gina, I'm going to start with you only because Tony's a little older, right, than Marcia's son that has autism, and he's 10. Tony's going to be 28, and I've met Tony, but kind of help set the stage for us. So was Tony born with autism, Gina? How do we discover or know what Tony has?
Oh, good question, because this is before the internet.
Okay.
So, yeah. The only frame of reference I had was Rain Man. I didn't think about growing up, like in our age, we didn't hear about autism. Right. I remember hearing something about an idiot savant on 60 Minutes piece, but the only frame of reference I had was Rain Man, movie with Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise. And so when Tony was born, he was healthy, all his fingers and toes, beautiful baby. But somewhere, and I guess it was my mommy senses, and I had two other children. His sister Remy is a year and 13 days older than him, and then my oldest son Sean is 40. So I've been a mommy a long time, so I know the milestones and what they're supposed to be hitting. And with Tony, he wasn't saying mommy, bye-bye, dad, nothing. So I was like, okay. But, wasn't panicking or anything. And I shared it with friends, and I was living in Houston at the time. And everybody had a story, ain't nothing wrong with him. He'll talk when he want to talk. Juju didn't talk till he was 8. He's spoiled. You give him everything. Child. So all that's well and good. However, I needed to know. And I took him to Texas Children's Hospital when he was 2.5. And that's when he was diagnosed as pervasive developmental disorder, or PDD, which is on the spectrum of autism. And at the time, I think I was more thankful just to have a label. At least I knew I wasn't crazy. Like I did something. And so the earlier, the better. I got him right into, and then I had to hit like before the internet. So I couldn't Google anything. I had to hit the books. I was in the library. I researched everything I could on autism. And got him into University of Houston speech therapy, like right away. I'm a social worker. So that's what I do. I connect with services. So I had this whole, and it was a hell of a road. I'm telling you, I had to make peace with it. I'm trying to give you the in a nutshell, because he is 28, and it changes. Services for children are one thing, but when you turn to an adult, 18, everything, it shifts, or they can stay in high school. I don't know what it is in Georgia, but he was born in Houston. So they can stay in high school until they're 22. But once they're adult, all services change. So I'm living in a whole different spectrum. I retired from my career of 30 years, social worker in the HIV field, a career that I loved and did well in, and was passionate.
I think we lost her. Yeah, I think we lost her, and we'll get her back in. She froze up. So, Marsha?
Yes.
Got you. So how and when did you discover and know when your son had autism?
Well, when Christian he started school, what's the early school before pre-K, he was having some problems, just not looking in the eyes, just having some social skills issues. But not until when he started pre-K, when he started like regular school at the elementary school pre-K, did I really notice he had like severe issues. Christian would when his autism manifests where when he gets triggered, he has these big explosions. And he hits and kicks and punches and will just destroy a classroom and, things of that nature. So that started in pre-K. And by the end of the first semester of pre-K, they wanted to then transfer Tim to a classroom for kids with special needs. Had a meeting, and kind of felt kind of bullied by everyone that to make this choice to go to this classroom. And then something my mommy since told me, go to this classroom, go check it out. And most of the kids in the room were nonverbal children. So I'm like, my kid's progress is going to be completely stifled. So I worked it out where he was primarily in his pre-K classroom and in his classroom. And just at that point in time, then I went to a doctor, had some testing done. I suspected autism. I don't know what it was, just I guess the mommy senses again. And by June, it took a few months for them to process it. By June, I got the diagnosis that he had autism. And it's funny what she said. Getting a diagnosis did feel like I was like, oh, okay, it's something, because at this point in time, before that, I have a child that I don't know what's going on with him. He's a really kind, sweet, thoughtful, smart kid. And then I sent him to school and he's exploding all over the place. And I'm like, somebody needs to tell me something about what's going on. So getting a diagnosis at least made me feel like, okay, we can go somewhere from here.
Got you. How did it make you feel? So you got a name associated and tied with it. How did you you got a sense of relief now, right? But then you have to kind of change how you work with your son now. I mean, how did that feel for you?
Yeah, so it felt really overwhelming, because what happens is you do all this testing, then they come in, they give you this big package, or they don't come in. You don't go anywhere at first. They email you after a few months, this packet of what all the things going on with your child. And then you come in for a meeting for like an hour. They give you a folder filled with different resources to go to and send you off on your merry way. And you're just like, I can only come from my perspective. I didn't have like any mental health background. I froze. I felt very overwhelmed.
Offered me a job. He said, help me get back on the horse.
Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. I felt just really overwhelmed when I just got this packet. I'm like, what's going on? And I think it was, it was really kind of slow moving with me, like really getting him the help. Because the next year I went to a different school with a different special classroom, and he was fine. I mean, he was perfectly, no outbursts. He grew. And then in second grade, he went back to the old school. He was fine. And then, kindergarten and then first grade. Kindergarten and first grade were breezy years. There really wasn't anything that showed he had autism until second grade. And the outburst started again. And then I got caught in the cycle of trying to figure out what to do. And for the longest time, I was working with the school and doing EIPs and all of the different things, and taking him to the doctors. But really, until this year, I feel like I kind of felt like I was spinning my wheels and not getting a lot of traction going forward with being and with feeling empowered to help him. I kind of felt stuck.
Yeah. Well, I think we can welcome back Gina. Gina, you're back?
Woo, I'm back, sis.
Awesome. Great.
Great.
I'm glad you're back. I got some other people in the Zoom that I think I need to come out. So if you're not a part of the show, Dwayne, please come out of Zoom. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw that. I got confused.
So thank you. So welcome back. So Gina, for you, right? So now we got a title. Marsha was sharing her experience when she discovered that her son had autism, and she, like you, was saying the same thing. Like, your son is fine. He's loving, not a problem at home. For Marsha, he was having some outbursts and some things going on in school. He's very young, still very young. But once she got a name or a title to what's going on in his life, it's like, okay, we feel better. Okay, we got this. We're not crazy. There's something going on with my beloved, and there's a name for it. And so now I got to kind of maneuver through the process. And so for you, Gina, did it change for you and Tony when he was a little boy? Now he has autism, a portion of it or a piece of it. Did you have to change your parenting technique for him?
Oh, absolutely. And there's no guidebook. They didn't come like this. Was really hands-on. There are no two children alike, so I'm blessed. I never complain because it could be a whole lot worse. And navigating through the school system in Houston, I was open because like all this was new to me, and there was support groups, and it was overwhelming. But I was open to whatever they suggested. So, and it was always a challenge in the summer. Now, mind you, I'm a single parent. I've got to work all summer. All year. So summertime is really a challenge because there's no summer school. Like I can send Remy, his sister, to the YMCA. I was always, it's a free camp somewhere. but when it comes to special needs, so sometimes they would have extended year services, and I would take him. I would never just put him on the bus. They always provided transportation for special needs, but I would send him to places, and I would see the full spectrum of, like, there's high functioning, and then there's very low functioning. And so I'm blessed. Tony may be nonverbal, and I think that was my biggest thing. Like, you couldn't tell me, because I'm such a, y'all know, anybody knows me, know I can talk. I'm a wordsmith. I write, I talk, like, I'm an orator. So the concept of having a child that doesn't speak, like, was foreign. Like, what? Like, sure, he's going to speak. One day he's just going to start spitting out something. Like, I didn't care what he said. I just wanted to hear his voice. So the idea, and I was really in the church at that time. I was faithful, saved, sanctified, speaking in tongues. Like, you couldn't tell me that my child, I had this confession on my refrigerator every day, morning and night. We was confessing that the deaf and dumb spirit, he'd be healed from the top of his head to the sole of his feet. In Jesus' name, yada, 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 amen. Like, I said this, I believed. And it took Remy, his sister, they were raised like twins. They shared the same room. And she busted out. She must have been about 10 or 11. And she just started crying. She said, it's not working. It's not working. We've been praying this for years and he still doesn't talk. And I was like, whoa, okay. Like, how do you even, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. And that was a light bulb moment for me, because I was so, like, I had him in speech therapy, like school, or anything the school offered, like back to being a social worker and any services provided. And then in the community, I was going to make him talk. I was going to make him, like, I'm a control freak. I've learned this. I had to have control. And what I've learned is I had no control over it, and I had to release all of that.
Okay.
Okay. There was not going to be, and then I beat myself up. I went through a whole phase, like the mothering thing, and a single parent, and then we won't even talk about what causes it. I'm staying in the light, but I even beat myself up. Was there something that I did? Because where did autism come from, and why is it so prevalent? And so, especially in Black boys, and that's a whole nother topic for another day. But once I started doing my research, I got angry, and then I was mad at myself. But I couldn't beat myself up for something I didn't know. I thought I was being a responsible parent and doing what I needed to do and following. But in all of that, in my light bulb moment, that I had to release control and to be all right with my child may never speak. And so I had to be all right with that. And all I ever wanted, to tell you the truth, and still today, I've known that he would say, mommy. That's the only thing I'd love to hear him say is mommy. He says, mama. But even with that, I've learned that communication is more than verbal. Tony doesn't speak, but he communicates. Like, you've seen him, Michelle. Like, he comes and hangs out. Like, I am so, and it took, especially in New York, there's we have a circle of sisters that we all have children with autism. All of them are different. There's no two same on spectrum, but we have this sisterhood. And one of my sisters, Martina, she told me, and it's funny the things we take for granted, because we were at Fort Greene, Lil Ray's Jamboree, and what I do, I bring out the tent. You've seen my setup. Wherever I go, I roll, I got my tent, my chairs, and I do that for him. I'm dancing. I'm not up under the tent. I don't sit down, but he allows me, if I set him up and bring the coolers, the chairs, as long as he can eat, and he chills, he sits. And it took Martina saying, she said, sis, you don't know how lucky you are that you can leave him. And I was like, whoa, because Jelani, her son, is a runner. Like, you can't leave, he can't be left unattended. Like, I can leave Tony on the blanket, he's gonna chill, I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna come back, check on him. So I never complain, because it can be a whole lot worse. And so once I released control that he may never speak, and made peace with it, and learned, and that's part of my spiritual journey, that we're all energy, and it's vibrations and frequency. There's nothing wrong with Tony. Like, he's not disabled. He's different, but he's not less than. He's vibrating on a whole different level. And during this time that what we're going through, in this madness of the world, he is in this bubble of love. Like, he doesn't know hate. He doesn't know fear. He doesn't know nothing about no coronavirus. He don't know about nothing. In his world, he's a happy camper.
He's normal. He's normal.
Life is good.
Life is good.
I love his world. We live in his bubble a whole lot. I love his bubble. Not a whole lot of talking, but it's a lot of communication. There's a whole lot of love. So once I shifted my thinking on how I saw autism and made peace with it, it's like he has awesometism now. Like, we don't look at it. We got a whole different perspective. Like, when you change the way you look at things you look at change. So I made peace with it. there's some dark days. I ain't gonna lie. You know, he has his episodes and he's big. He's strong. Tony is 6'3", about 280, and he's strong. He's a gentle giant. And he's so loving and sweet, but there's something that triggers him, and he has these moments, and he seems to lash out on me as his caregiver. But that's what we're struggling with now. But he's on no meds. Getting back to, and this is not for all. You know, I get it. If that's what you need. For me and mine, we don't do meds, and especially when I tried it, going back to listening to doctors back when he was young, because he was having episodes in school. He was acting out. Oh, the self-containment classes. Oh, we had a journey. I was that. They knew me at the IEPs and the ARD meetings. Like, I'm very involved. I'm the snack wagon mom. I'm PTA. They know Miss Thomas when she comes through the door. So I was very involved in his education. So, but what you're not going to do is stick him in a closet.
Right.
There's just certain things, but I had to homeschool him for a while. I did what I had to do, but it has been truly a journey. And so when I listen, and I hate that I missed your story, sis, but I'm going to listen. But so having a younger child, like, I remember those days.
Yeah.
So is your son verbal?
Yes, my son is actually really highly functioning. Super highly functioning. Like, he draws. He's on grade level, possibly above. You know, above. His issues are more social, and he has the violent episodes. But he's very much, like you mentioned, the gentle giant. Christian has always looked like way older than his age. Like, right now he's 10 and he wears men's clothing. Like, he's no longer, and I just had to keep buying more and more clothes. So his issues are where when he can't control, he can't control his emotions, and when it happens, it's scary, because I remember I didn't see it until the first time I got there. The school always would call me. About by the time I got there, the episode would come down. But the school, one time I got there, he was still in the episode. He looked like he wasn't there. His eyes, like, he had a completely different voice. It was frightening to be able to see your child, not your child. Like, I don't even know who you are right now. Right. And then to know that he's in there, he's trapped in there. It can be like those times when he can't control that. So finding the school that I have him in now has been a godsend, because I was so worried. Like, you have a child who's huge for his age, who can't control his emotions. Like, they're calling the police on my kid at school. Yes. Like, they calling the police. Yes. Like, and my son threw a chair at the police officer.
Wow.
You know, so, like, there was a time where it was just like fear. Kept getting kicked out of school. Last year, I homeschooled him for about 2 months, because they tried to transfer him to a school in Cobb County. I called it Fair East Side, because it looked like the school from Lean On Me, where they sent K through 12 kids who have behavioral issues. Mm-hmm. And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know, you won't have my like, you won't have my kid there seeing what God knows what, mm-hmm. and changing him internally. Absolutely not. So,
Marsha, is your son on any form of medication?
No, he's not on any medication.
Good.
Awesome.
And we're not having the episodes like that anymore.
Okay.
But not often. But treat for these type of episodes, especially autism, treatment is better than medication, because you really have to get to what the root cause is for the triggers. Like, mm-hmm. You have to kind of go through the back door and, like, break the triggers instead of getting a medication to suppress the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And you know what you're doing and what Gina has done is no different than what all mothers will do, right? Let me just kind of put that out there, or any parent will do. You have to go to the mat for your kid, right? You got, because they're children. They don't know. You have to be their advocate, and you there's something inside of you that knows what's best for them, or maybe you know what's not going to work for them. And so you have to be that barrier, that warrior, that spokesperson for them. And then you still have to nurture them and give them what they need so that they can continue to be a human being, because that's what they are. They're human beings. They just learn differently. They just, they maneuver a little differently than we do. And who's to say what we do is to be normal? It's fine for them. And so we're just trying to figure out how to make sure they're comfortable in the spaces that they're in while they're there.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to make sure they're safe. I feel for you, sis, because I feel that with Tony, those episodes at school, like that's the scariest, because if they get a hold to a child, because Tony got a hold to the teacher, and a little white woman, and he clamped down on her, and like that was, and once they start that trail of paperwork, it's a wrap. You know, that's self-containment in the closet thing. I'm like, absolutely not. We're not
doing any of that.
I also looked at what, and like you were saying, like getting to the root, what is causing it? Because I really feel like, because like what you were saying, how his eyes glaze over, it's not even him. Like I can tell, and he wants to stop. Like he'll he wants, and he can't, and it's like he'll stop for a second, and then it goes back. And then does your son do the self-stimming like Tony does his hands? He does the stimming thing.
No, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. It's really crazy where outside of the outburst and then just a certain little of social awkwardness, it really just has to do with needing to get him around other children. Like he's in a school. I have him in a wonderful school now, Jacob's Ladder, that has an amazing program. Like with the first phone call I had with them, like after calling school after school, telling them what kind of, calling these private schools, telling the issues, and they're like, oh, violent behavior? No.
Right.
Because there's so many children, there's so many kids with autism now. They don't have to take they don't have to take the violent ones. Like we don't have to deal with that. Right. And when I finally got on the phone and talked to their school now, Jacob's Ladder, I bawled. Like I feel it. Like I could cry right now, to be honest. Like I can feel it in my heart when it was like somebody hears me. And even as I was looking at the website, I started feeling this overwhelmed, because it was like everything that I've been trying to piecemeal together and do myself was contained in this one building. And with these people, when I called them and I described to him, they're like, oh, it sounds like a lot of our kids. I completely broke down. I completely broke down, because you have to, when you have a child who has some kind of issues, you're afraid for them and you're afraid for other people because of that. You don't know what this grows to if you don't stop the trajectory of the violence.
Absolutely. And it's a scary time. The last thing you want to do is law enforcement, because all they see is a big black man. Tony, like on the outside, yes, he's a grown man.
Right.
Developmentally, he's probably about 4. Wow. But to the outside world, he looks like a grown ass man, and they're not equipped. They don't know a first thing about it. And then like, that's my biggest, and I don't like to speak it because I don't like to attract it, but if I say anything, like, that's why I had to stop working. I don't want to be that mom on the 6 o'clock news. I don't want to be with my child missing and my child, like, I can't. So like you were saying, Michelle, like I'm his voice, I'm his advocate, he's depending on me to keep him safe and to keep him happy. That's my biggest thing with him. And then even I'm at to the age now, like tomorrow's not promised to any of us, but my thing, and for lack of a better word, is burden. Like I want to set him up to be as independent as possible. Like I would love to live forever, but there's going to come a time when I'm going to get my wings. And what happens to him? Like I'm his everything. I'm his BFF. I'm his mom. I'm his, and we have a wonderful relationship. Can you see him? I brought him on screen.
Yeah, we see him
right there. We see him.
Yeah. Hi. Tony is
for people to see, because he's sitting over here looking at me. He don't miss nothing. Absolutely. So like I said,
he's a good guy. And Gina, you've taken Tony from state to state to state. Like people that know Gina does not stay home. And we're going to slide into this in a second, but I want to give a little prelude. because you discovered for Tony in Texas, and so the support system might be different there. I want to ask Marcia, for your son, and which one is it? Christian that is autistic?
Christian, yeah.
Were you in Atlanta when you discovered his autism?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
you've been here the entire time, and
Yes,
so
he was born and raised here, so we've been here the entire time.
So do you find, Marcia, that the support system in place for children with autism has been good for you here in Atlanta, or could be improved? Tell me a little bit about that.
The most of the supports I've utilized were through the school.
Okay.
And through the medical providers that we've utilized. That's been the support system I've used. I do think that if things were more centralized for parents who are dealing with children with special needs, where everything was kind of like, here, this is all you need to know, and this is how you go about doing it, I think it would be a lot more helpful, because everything's so spread out. You have to go on such a dig, and when you're already kind of under the water dealing with your kids, it can be difficult to be able to pull up to reach for those other services. So outside of the educational system, but now my kids are in private school, and then he has a doctor, a specialist as well. So now we're in a good space. But in terms of outside care, like government stuff, we haven't really taken advantage of anything.
All right, I'm gonna switch over to Gina. Gina, I know you go to Texas, New York, you lived in Louisiana, New Orleans, and you take that baby with you. Tony goes with you when you so I want to talk to you about it, because I think you might have shared with me at one time, you're able to get the services that you need for Tony more so in New York than in Atlanta, or is that still true? Or tell me.
Absolutely. Being a New Yorker, we take things for granted.
Yeah.
I did not realize, like I said, being born and raised there, we just, outside of New York, like if you have disabilities, that's the place you want to be.
Okay.
They just offer more. They have a program that actually, it's Medicaid funded, but it pays the, instead of having a stranger come in your house, they will pay family members to take care of your elderly parents or your adult disabled children. So it's a godsend, because on paper, I live in New York. That's
I got you.
That's how I tap in, and if I actually was there more often, because I go back and forth, so I go and that's where all of his appointments are. I use my New York address, just simply because like I can't speak, because like I said, adult services are totally different. I tried the day habs. They look really nice on the brochures. However, when you go and visit them, like I live in tears. It breaks my heart. And I'm just not going to be like, and you may see them sometime, and not saying it all, there may be some good ones. I don't know. My experience, like I had one place shut down. This was in Houston, of course, but I get respite care for him in home and out of home. That's part of, like, there's so much, but if you don't know about it, like Houston, it took me a while. Like I was on a waiting list for 15 years, literally. He got on when he was 3, and I got it when he was 18.
Wow.
And, but he had a service coordinator, and going back to, whatever they suggested. And I remember her telling me that I would need this, the foresight of it, they're cute when they're little, but there was going to come a time, and I couldn't allow myself, because it was overwhelming. Like he still watches Barney, and that was cute when he was little. Was it going to be cute when he was 30 years old, a grown-ass man still watching Barney?
Right.
Absolutely. It's fine with me. Like, I'm so past that. I'm saying my mindset back then, like I couldn't think that far ahead. Now I'm there. And so I took it one day at a time, but I had the foresight to see this waiting list that he would need it once upon a time. And it took 15 years literally, because it goes back to funding. So that's my thing. I believe in getting everything he's entitled to. Gotcha. Also, like, for people that maybe he qualifies for SSI, I've been getting him SSI since he was probably 3 when he was first diagnosed. Of course, that's income based. But now that he's an adult, he gets that on his own, and he'll need that for a lifetime. So along with that comes his Medicaid. And so that opens up services also. But as far as traveling, when I tell you this one here, this is my road dog. We rode, like, he's so, and then I've even gotten, so he rides on the plane now. And that was my biggest thing. We watched planes because we live near the airport. So we would go watch the planes go on. And I would always promise him one day I was going to take him, but I did not know. The last thing you want to do is be on a plane and closed area and he go into one of his episodes.
Right.
Like, okay. So, but nope. He's, when I tell you, he's a seasoned traveler now. He gets his backpack and his snacks, and we get special boarding because I pull my card when I need be because he wants that first seat because he's so big, his long legs, so that first. And they have accommodations, so I don't mind. All disabilities are not physical. Like he's not in a wheelchair, but that doesn't mean that you know, he doesn't like, I can bypass. I still have to go through security, but there's TSA has certain places that he can go. We don't have to wait on those long lines, and then we can get pre-boarding. So he does fine on the plane. So yeah, he travels with me. Everybody knows Tony.
Everybody knows Tony. Everybody knows Tony. I want to ask this question. Where do you ladies find most of your support from? Has it been from friends? Has it been from family? Has it been from other resources? Because again, I'm a parent, right? I'm a single parent. Sometimes you don't get the help, right? Everybody says when they're cute and they're in the little bassinet or whatever, oh, I'll babysit, I'll watch it. And then when you need them, unfortunately, they're not available because life is happening. So now we have children that are autistic. Do we find that it's been difficult or our families have been all in? Tell us a little bit about it. Marsha, I'm gonna start with you. How has it been for you? You get your support from family, friends, both, outside sources? What's going on?
Well, my parents, they live in Indiana. So, you know, my mom, she will, like during breaks, you know, take the boys for a couple of weeks, here, a couple of weeks there to give me a break. So that I don't really have much family here. When they were younger, I had family members who would come and babysit, but it was more because they were cute. But and then everybody lived closer at the time. And then and now people are more spread on the outside, and just life is happening to everyone. So really, until recently, I'm divorced, and my boys would go with their dad every other weekend. Starting in August, we started it's every other week now.
Wow.
So now it's like, it's literally, I have a completely different life.
Nice.
But it's interesting. I was talking to a friend yesterday. I have two very different lives. I have this yogi businesswoman, Marsha life,
right,
and then I have mommy life. Yes. Especially now with the COVID, where no one's going to school, everything. So it's like I have this very zen and still kind of working and moving action, you know, life without the kids. But then when they're here, it's like, whoosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, but to be the point. Yeah, I didn't receive a lot, you know, not being from here. No, I haven't had a lot of support. You know, it's been kind of us, you know, until more recently with his dad playing a much bigger role. That's added a whole nother layer of relief.
Awesome.
And made me really it's made me a much more effective mom, where I'm not constantly on the hamster wheel. Right. I can come off and become more strategic in how I parent.
Yeah, and that's good, and that's important. You know, we got to have that balance. Oftentimes, we're doing everything by ourselves, and then it starts to feel isolated, right? You feel like you're in this incubator, and it's you and your little cubs, your babies, you know, and you're just doing the routine and everything, and it's just like. And they're like, people are like, oh, she got it. No, it's not that I have it. It's just that because I don't really have the help to help me, you know, balance this thing out. So no. And I think too, as children get a little older, as parents, we get a little bit more comfortable in their social settings and them being in different places and maybe with different people. but it's great that their father is stepping, is involved and stepping up more to 1 week at a time, because it's a lot. It's having children, raising children with nothing at all is a lot. And then when they have a unique style or personality or wellness, or how they adapt to information and how they live in this life, you need that help. You need that help.
Oh yeah. I just, when I look at like my life and our lives this time last year and this time, it's another world. I think around this time last year was during the time he was at home with me.
Yeah.
And that, dealing with that, and then my youngest getting up and going to school every day, like, what you mean? What you mean he ain't gotta go to school?
You don't
and I gotta go.
You don't even understand.
And really that it would and there's a big issue too with having kids really close in age and having that younger child who has the older sibling who has those type of issues, because I see my youngest son really doing things for attention, like look at me, see me, because it's like Christian always is pulling the attention, but not always in a great way. So it's sometimes I see this little battle going between them for the attention.
Mm-hmm. And they're close. They're about maybe 2 years apart, Marsha?
Yeah, 20 months. They're 20 months. Yeah, 20 months apart.
Yeah, so there's still a little competition there.
Yeah. So it's that thing. But definitely, I see my little ones like, yo, you gonna see me.
Yeah. You will not ignore me. And it's a different dynamic for Gina, for her, for Tony and Remy. They're close in age. She said in the opening comments that they're almost like twins because they're, I guess, 13 months apart. And so they grew up pretty close together. So it's a little different there. They didn't have that kind of competition. Right, Gina? They got along pretty well?
Oh, absolutely. That their issue was having, and that's what I just wrote about today, because, I was dealing with the diagnosis, but I didn't realize what it must have done for Remy, because she's so close in age. So she's a child herself. So her taking it like, and then kids are cruel, and I used to make her take him with her, like, take your brother. When she went outside, she ride the bike, skating, she was hanging out, I'm like, take your brother. And like, he's so embarrassing. Like, I get it. However, but I had to, and I remember getting the Maria Shriver's book, What's Wrong with Timmy? But so she would understand children with disabilities, because the only thing I had was that's the way, so she could explain it to her friends, like, why doesn't he talk? And so that's a good question. So, that's the way he was born. That's why God made him. He was special. But their relationship was always so close, but she was always the mama bear. And she still, and initially I wanted to keep them in school together. And I realized that wasn't fair to her, because my thinking initially was that she would be his mouthpiece, because he can't talk. I was always very protective of him. I'm the mama bear thing, and anybody picking on him or whatever. But I was blessed in that. Like, nobody ever picked on Tony. Everybody loved Tony. Like, he had some classes, he was mainstream, and I never got that bullying type of thing. But that was Remy. She was so protective, and I realized keeping them in school together was going to be a distraction for her. I don't want her fighting his battles. Like, I don't want her always had to protect her brother. So they ended up going to different schools. And anyway, I would always make sure Tony got to the best schools. I was that mother would scan a bill. I saw that poor woman went to prison. Like, if they only knew, like, I was that mom, like, wherever they had the best services, that's where he was going. I'd ride around the neighborhood, give me an address. But
Becoming a mother for the first time is a challenging life experience. Full of hope, promise, and excitement, Barbara Rivera recalls eagerly waiting for the birth of her son Kevin years ago.
I had visions of